Hey everyone, so I'm against a tree, as you can see. So today is a good day to do a little forest bathing. So another part of Japanese culture that I find not only really fascinating but so true is being out in nature helps you physiologically and psychologically. What we've always known, that time in nature does help you feel better. And now science is backing it up, which is great. So I'm lucky. I do have trees in my backyard, as you can see. So I don't necessarily have to go far to connect with nature. And maybe you hear the birds around me. Maybe. So I am lucky. But being out here and hearing the sounds of birds and bees, all the little sounds of nature does help to ground you, helps to ground me. And can shift a mood for sure. So science is starting to show how spending some time in a forest, not worrying about how many steps you're getting, right? So you're not tracking it on your Fitbit, you're just being and sitting among nature, sitting among trees. When you do this, that your pulse rate goes down, blood pressure goes lower, cortisol levels drop, all good things. It's also been shown now scientifically to help support and improve your immune system. So if you are someone who suffers from issues of their immune system and autoimmune disease, spending some time out against a tree is a good thing. It also helps to lessen anxiety and depression. So how wonderful to be able to find that kind of healing. It's not in a pill, right? It's not going to your doctor. It's going to Dr. Nature and letting that healing happen. So even if you're not feeling anxious, even if you don't have any chronic issues, even if you're not worried about your immune system and life is grand, and I think it would be great for you to start cultivating a practice to go out into nature, because maybe not today, but one day you'll need it. Or maybe you've gotten so desensitized you don't even realize the anxiety that you're feeling and how much calmer you can be once you spend some time in nature. I grew up on a couple acres of land, and it was surrounded by trees. And ever since then, trees have always been really important to me. I've always needed to have, or at least be able to see, trees. And I'm blessed that I do have trees here at my house. Not as many or as different kinds as I had growing up in South Carolina. Here in Texas, I'm up against a live oak right now. And I have primarily live oaks here in the backyard. And they're beautiful in how their limbs grow. You find some really interesting, there's some great climbing trees that are live oaks, really great climbing trees. Maybe I should climb a tree. Maybe that'll be next. Might not want to video that just in case I fall. But I've always enjoyed trees. When we lived in Colorado, it was something that was important to me, is that I wasn't in a house that was just in some field that had been cleared of all the trees. I needed to have at least scrub oak around me, you know, something. Depending on where you are in Colorado, you have some you know, beautiful aspens and ponderosa pine and others. But in some places in Colorado, you really don't have very many trees. And so when we were looking for a home, that was kind of one of my criteria. Well, I had two criteria. One, I wanted to view the mountains. And because, you know, if you're going to live in Colorado, don't you want to see mountains? That's what I always thought. And I needed trees. So those were my two criteria. And while I'm not seeing mountains here in the hill country of Texas, I wanted to have this sense that I was in my environment, right? I wasn't in just some home that was somehow separated from its environment, but instead part of it. And so once again, trees was important. Wildflowers, I have wildflowers. You might be able to see some of that growing because it's wildflower season. So I wanted that, and I wanted to be able to see some rolling hills. I wanted to see the hill country, right? I wanted to feel like I was living in the environment, that I was not separate from it. So this connection with nature is something that I've loved ever since I was a kid, and no matter how old I get, it still seems to be something that I need, that helps to sustain me. And I enjoy the beach too, trust me. But day in, day out, a tree's what I need. So my hat's off to the Japanese and forest bathing. Glad science is catching up and showing that, yeah, it really does help to be out in nature. So I'm going to sign off so I can actually just spend some time with this tree here and listen to the birds, notice the clouds in the sky, and the wind against my skin. So if you can find a tree today, anywhere, even just for 5 minutes, might be at a local park, it might be your own backyard, but try to just be and let it soak into your system. It's going to help your parasympathetic system, right? It's going to help your rest and digest, and decrease the sympathetic, the fight or flight response. So take some time. Let me know how your forest bathing goes. Thanks. Gonna enjoy my tree now. Bye.